Tenants in a rent-controlled New York City apartment get a taste of what landlords have to deal with every day when their tenant decided to stop paying rent. I'm Tony, and this is Real Estate Investing and Landlord News. All right, so I have an interesting article for you today, and once again, it's coming out of the state of New York, and specifically New York City. Okay, so obviously they have rent control up there. That has been the way of the city for so long now that it's not really unexpected. But one of the things and the topics that I bring up and the reason why housing is not affordable in New York is because a lot of the tenants there, right? One, they stay in these rent controlled units for an extremely long amount of time, right? And rather than moving out and letting someone else have the rent controlled unit, what they will oftentimes do is sublet the unit so that they can make a little bit of profit. They want to make some money. Basically, that money that the landlord normally would be making, the other tenant instead is taking that extra cash. So it doesn't provide any extra affordable housing within the city, and the tenant is the one who gets to collect all the money. So yeah, I just did a story about this very issue going on in San Francisco. Well, the tenants in this story, guess what they had to deal with? A bad tenant of their own. The tenant who decides to sublet from them basically screwed them over. Now, I know this is supposed to be like a human interest story. Oh, I feel so bad for these tenants who they have to deal with the person they were subletting to who is a jerk. No, well, here's the problem. They themselves are being the jerk to the actual building owner. The building owner has no say in any of this and is getting completely screwed. And then they feel bad because they got kind of minorly screwed. Well, you're going to find out exactly what's going on here in this story. But before I get into the article, go ahead, hit the like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think, okay? So if you had a tenant who was subletting your unit or your house or whatever, right? And then that tenant, gets screwed over by their tenant, then do you feel bad for them? I know I don't, okay? My problem is, though, that I can't get either one of them out of there. I can't get the tenant who is subletting or the tenant who is, I can't get either one of them out of there. That's the problem. And get an actual tenant who is willing to pay market rates up in there. That's what they need. But, the actual owner of the building has no say in any of this story. And that's ridiculous and stupid. But anyway, let's get into this article. This article is coming from the New York Post, and it says, elderly, ailing Upper West Side couple say they're stuck with 30-something roommate from hell. And, they got pictures of, this elderly couple. It looks like the gentleman, he's in a wheelchair. And, I feel for them to an extent, right? But considering the fact that they were screwing the landlord over, I don't feel that much for them. Anyway, let's get into the article and see what this says. An elderly Upper West Side couple claim they're stuck with the roommate from hell, an abusive, entitled 30-something real estate agent who's using legal loopholes to avoid paying them a dime in rent the past year. Eugene Sarver, 78, who uses a wheelchair and suffers from severe Parkinson's disease, and his wife Nina, 74, who has dementia, say they made the ill-fated decision 2 years ago to rent a room in their spacious West 97th Street apartment for $992 a month to Lawrence Lee, a licensed real estate agent whose antics may cost him his gig with real estate titan Douglas Elliman. So, right there in the first couple of paragraphs, you see something right there like, oh, well, he's a roommate. No, he's your tenant, okay? So, you're like, oh, whatever, but then you're like, oh, but he hasn't paid rent. Hey, if he's a roommate, or is he a tenant? Well, no, he's a tenant. You are subletting your unit, your rent-controlled unit, and they haven't said that yet in the article, but I've already read the article, and I know this is a rent-controlled unit, and you are subletting it out to them and to this guy, and now you feel like you got screwed because this guy, he's a professional tenant. He knows the law. He knows he can't be kicked out, and he's got you. Anyway, let's keep going. Eugene Sarver alleges Lee routinely eavesdrops on conversations and has especially freaked his wife out with poor hygiene habits that attract rodents and other pests to the apartment. He's a horrible tenant and a pathological liar, Sarver thundered to the Post. The couple says the experience has left them so stressed that they've been in and out of hospitals the past year for heart conditions and other ailments while trying to get Lee evicted, only to watch the savvy salesman drag out the process by repeatedly applying for state assistance and then appealing after being rejected. Hey, what do you think real landlords are going through all the time? You didn't know any of this, I'm sure, right? But this guy, he's a real estate agent. He probably knew landlord-tenant law. He knew what he could get away with. He knew that he could apply for state rental assistance and basically be prevented from being evicted. I've done many stories about New York landlords who've been screwed over by these tenant protections they put in place after the pandemic, okay? Basically saying that if you apply for rental assistance, then you can't be evicted for any reason until that is adjudicated. Well, this guy knew that, okay? Now, you're playing in the realm that you didn't understand, right? You were like, oh, well, we want to be a landlord. We want to make this extra money. But you didn't know that you were going to actually have to deal with people who know what they're doing, especially in a place like New York. That's why, I always say, hey, don't be surprised that landlords, they charge such high rents, they have such strict criteria on their properties because we do the best we can to not let these bad tenants into them. So, I don't feel bad that you're getting screwed over. I just don't. I feel bad that you're elderly and, you're going through a rough time, with your, illnesses and health conditions, but that's a separate story. Okay, you're still screwing this landlord. The actual building owner is the true landlord here, not you. It's gotten so bad that the couple regularly stays 10 miles away at a Bronx nursing home while Lee has free reign over their rent-subsidized $2,200 a month, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom bargain that includes plush office space. So then we get to hear just a little bit something right there, okay? So I don't know too much about New York City, okay? I don't know too much about Manhattan, but I do know that the Upper West Side is an extremely popular area, and these people, they live in a $2,200 a month, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom bargain that includes a plush office space, right? So this is a relatively large apartment in one of the most popular areas of Manhattan, which is the most expensive real estate market in the entire country. And they are paying $2,200 a month, right? This is extremely cheap. And they weren't willing to just give it up and move out because they already moved out. They said it right here in the article. They say they stay at a nursing home. Literally, these people don't even live there. They said he has free reign over the place. Oh. So you basically abandoned the place, but you wanted to hold on to it. That's what these people with rent control do. They hold on to the rent controlled units, right? They got other people renting it out from them, paying them hundreds or thousands of dollars a month, and just so they can hold on to it, basically off of the backs of the landlord who can't even afford to keep their building up to date and modern, and this is ridiculous. This is a ridiculous story, okay? So they got a taste of what landlords have to deal with every single day. They haven't received rent in a long time because this guy knows what he's doing, and basically now I'm pretty sure this problem is it's going to fall back onto them because they're the ones filing for eviction, okay? The actual owner of the building is not doing that. The reason being that, the owner probably doesn't even know that this guy's living in there. Anyway, interesting article. I thought I would bring it up. I wanted to just give you an example of how, these tenants who are subletting these units are, they're screwing landlords over by basically not moving out. They're staying there forever, and then they are turning their unit into a little mini business for themselves and basically sucking up all those profits for themselves.